classic pop culture. It's classic pop culture. Hosted by Steve Ludwig on Planet Ludwig. It's classic pop culture. It's classic pop culture. It's classic pop culture.
Thank you, Joe Mandica, Australia's gift to the world of pop music, for performing, writing, and producing our classic pop culture theme song. Joe is a real friend of the show. And speaking of friends of the show, how are all of you doing? Thanks so much for joining us. This is your pal and fellow fan of pop culture, Steve Ludwig, welcoming you to show number 170. And on this edition, one of my all-time heroes of cinema is our guest. Actress EILEEN Dietz joins us. Here's EILEEN Dietz. And here's EILEEN Dietz with an autograph picture to moi as Pazuzu, aka Captain Howdy, in the scariest movie of all time, The Exorcist. And here's EILEEN as Regan MacNeill in The Exorcist. Miss Dietz did all the most horrific and memorable scenes in the movie. Here's our guest EILEEN Dietz on Happy Days. Here she is on the TV series Planet of the Apes. And here she is on the second highest rated TV miniseries of all time as one of the Manson girls in Helter Skelter. And here she is with another autograph picture, this time to my wife Sue, in the number one soap opera of all time, General Hospital. I spoke with Miss Dietz just a few days ago as this show premieres via Zoom. What a conversation we had. Now, thanks to my ineptitude, the Zoom feed wasn't as clear as we would have hoped. It was all on me, as it always is. But the interview EILEEN gave us was so brilliant, you'll have a great time regardless of me. So how about if I hand it over to the real talent, EILEEN Dietz. Enjoy, everybody. From when she was a young girl sitting in the balcony, watching the Broadway production of Peter Pan, and longing to jump onto the stage to be a part of the play, to later working on the stage with, among others, the legendary Anthony Perkins. From playing her first crying scene as Ellie in the teen exploitation movie Teenage Gang Debs, to starring in the number one soap opera of all time, General Hospital. From working on the TV series Planet of the Apes with Roddy McDowall, to portraying one of Charles Manson's girls in the highest rated TV miniseries in history, Helter Skelter. And oh yes, our guest, Miss EILEEN Dietz, just happens to portray Regan MacNeill in the most horrifying scenes of the scariest, most famous horror movie of all time, The Exorcist, as well as portraying Pazuzu in that movie. And as we learn from her brilliant book, Exorcising My Demons, all that I've just mentioned is merely the tip of the iceberg, both professionally and personally, for the prolific Ms. Dietz. It's my honor and certainly my pleasure to welcome to classic pop culture, the great EILEEN Dietz. Welcome, EILEEN.
Well, welcome to you. That's the best introduction I've ever had. And
Wow.
I'd really appreciate it if you email me the written copy. That's fabulous. I'll probably use it myself.
Thank you. I absolutely will. It's all from the heart, because it's funny when, and we'll get to The Exorcist, and listeners and watchers of the show, viewers, this book, Exorcising My Demons, is just one of the finest books about movie making, about an actor's ups and downs. It's a bittersweet story at times. Now, in the intro, EILEEN, I mentioned about young EILEEN Dietz seeing the show Peter Pan. Now, did you have the love before that even? I know you were dying to go to see that movie with your mom and your sister. Could you just take us back about what it was like sitting up in that balcony and what overcame you?
Well, apparently I knew I wanted to be an actress before that, obviously, or it wouldn't have happened.
Yes.
And as you really said, my mother actually took us on a sleigh in New York. It was a huge snowstorm, and took me and my two sisters to see Peter Pan. And that's what happened. But the end of that story is I thought, what if I miss the stage and I land in the audience? That wouldn't be good. And then I proceeded to watch the show.
Well, later on, you did land on the stage, working with people such as Anthony Perkins, and we'll get to that too. I thought we'd go sort of in chronological order, but we can go all over the place as well, because it's like a puzzle, and it all is going to fit in perfectly with your life.
Works for me.
Yeah. Well, being I mentioned, we'll go a little chronologically. Teenage Gang Debs. I love teenage exploitation movies. And you played, well, you appeared as Eileen Scott.
Well, like you said, I think it was the first film I ever shot. I had done one line on a soap opera before that, stuff like that. But I think that was the first film I ever shot. And I shot the movie as Eileen Scott, not as EILEEN Dietz, because I didn't know what a teen exploitation movie was going to be like.
Right.
So that's why I chose to hide myself. As it turned out, I love the movie. It's a lot of fun, but it was too late to change the credit. So Eileen Scott it is. It's a great exploitation movie. The music is, any of you people, you can find it out there. I don't know if it's on YouTube or on Netflix. I don't know where it is.
You know, Eileen, I found it on somethingweird.com. That's a video. Yeah. And it was on there. And you're right. It's not like a goofy, one of those silly teen exploitation movies. It's really some heavy stuff. And you had to cry for the first time on screen.
That is absolutely true. And that's the only part when I look back on the film, I go, really? You can fake crying pretty easy, but now I cry real tears.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I think as we get older, we all do.
No, I just did a movie. It was called Only the Devil. And I just shot that. And it was a wonderful, wonderful script. And it's about a boy that has a tumor. And my character convinces the people to come down to Mexico and be treated spiritually and, surgically. And he turns out to be this young demon, something like the kid in The Omen.
Wow. Yeah.
And there's one scene in the movie, but the only thing important to me is my dog, who's called Mr. Ravioli. He's a pug, and he's my whole life, just my child, my life. All of us that have dogs understand that, but even more so because she's single and lives alone. And the first scene we shot in the movie, at 7 a.m. in the morning, because it was 108 degrees in Palmdale, California, which is too hot for anybody, including pugs. And I had no idea. I was looking for my dog, and I was going, Mr. Ravioli, Mr. Ravioli. And I come upon the scene where the little boy has a helmet, has my dog's skull on it.
Oh, my God.
Wow. My dog passed a year and almost 2 years ago now. And I adored her. She was my baby and stuff.
Yeah,
I took one look at that and I burst out crying, just like, honestly, really, real tears just flowing down my face. And I fell on the ground in a fetal position and just sobbed. And of course, we did 3 or 4 takes on it, but the tears were real there.
Is that how you summon it now, Eileen, with your life experiences? Do you just think back at something? That just came to you, but
no, that's what I do in all my acting.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't do actor study, actor studio things. I don't think you can recreate because that memory might not make you cry. That memory might make you laugh, something that seems so serious at the time. So I don't work that way. I had an amazing acting teacher named Don Houghton, who unfortunately passed now. But if you're just relaxed and you believe the situation like a child, like a child believes anything that's going around. So we're just going back to our child like beings, where you just believe the circumstances. And if you believe the circumstances, something will come up for you.
Wow.
You can't just sit there and say, and I've tried that, believe me, I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry. I am going to cry. It doesn't work.
When the hell am I going to cry? Right.
Yeah.
EILEEN, I'd love to mention, or I'd love to talk with you about one of my favorite actors, because of Psycho, is Anthony Perkins. What was it like working with him in Steambath?
Well, the thing that made it amazing is that we did this show. We all off Broadway, down in the East Side in New York. I grew up in New York, by the way, which you know.
Yes, I'm a New Jersey.
And anybody who orders my book, and by the way, the best way to order my book really is on Facebook. And go to a private chat, and I will give you all the details about my book. Don't order it on Amazon because you won't get it autographed. So just write to EILEEN Dietz on Facebook, and I have several sites. So go to the one where I'm a clown from Clown Motel 2. So working with Tony was, we actually went through 3 actors in the show. And they paid us all Broadway salaries because they were so sure the show was going to move, but it didn't. And then they went through 3 actors, an actor named Dick Shawn that probably most people don't know.
Right in the producers.
And he died. And then Rip Torn took over, and he knew. So they fired him. And then Chuck Grodin took over, who just passed. 3
names,
That's a quick little story. See, Tony really wanted to do that part, but he was directing it. So Chuck, went through the whole thing. Tony went to LA to shoot a movie. And so they still ran because by then we were in previews. And so Chuck did the whole thing. When he came back, they fired him. I ran into him and he said, EILEEN, what happened? What happened? Why did I get fired? This is awful. And this was like later or something like that, at least. And I told him the whole story, and he was so relieved. So Tony took over the part, and he was very, very good at it, and he became a friend of mine. I remember things in the past better than the lines of 2 shows, 2 new films I'm working on that all have like 1 billion lines of dialogue.
How do you do that? That's another. How do you memorize lines? It's impossible to me.
It's hard, and it's easier when you're younger. When I was on General Hospital, I often memorized 30 pages a night, and it just came to me. But when you get older, me and Malcolm McDowell, Malcolm is a client of my managers and just the sweetest man you ever met. And every time he gets a new job, Chris, my manager, says, I can't remember these lines, EILEEN. No, that's more Cockney than he speaks. But I can't remember these lines, EILEEN. Chris, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? So it's a problem all us older people have, and you just have to do it. I have a whole technique to do it, but you just have to sit down and do it. Yeah. That's why I told you how busy I am. On Tuesday, I'm going to Oregon to shoot one of the films. And then the other film I'm shooting for a week, it's a 2-character film called The Night of the Caretaker. And it's basically a 2-character film. So after I get the other ones done, we start that on October 6th.
Yeah, for our listeners and our viewers, I had contacted EILEEN. I guess I contacted you first, maybe around June, sometime in June. And you were saying, I would love to be on the show, but I'm busy July. I'm shooting 2 movies. And you must, God bless you that you have so much work, but how do you keep your head on straight? I'd be going nuts.
It spins. It spins.
Good one.
No, you just
Old habits die hard.
I mean, I'm so grateful, you know, that I have the chance to do what I'm doing, and it just keeps going on and on and on with the advent of indie films.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Because they're all indie and they're all horror. And I guess I've just garnished such a nice reputation that people just call me. I don't audition for horror films. So anybody out there that's interested in getting in touch with me, I don't audition for horror films because some people still want me to.
You know, by this time, everyone, you should know EILEEN DIETZ does not need to audition. You know,
I know, exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah. No, I've just been very blessed. I've lost count. I think I've done 12 films in the last year or year and a half, and I have 3 more coming up, and then 1 more in January.
And when exactly do you sleep? My Lord.
No, I sleep.
Yeah, okay. Now, you worked with Anthony Perkins in Steam Bath.
I mean, in the meantime, I do other things too. That's why I have no time. I do signing. I'm going to do a big signing in Las Vegas, private signing in Las Vegas, probably in November at a museum out there. I think it's Tom Devil Museum. And,
now, will that be on? Would that info be on EILEENDIETZ.com or if your Facebook page? Or, yeah, I guess on your Facebook page.
I don't do my website that much. Yeah, it'll be on Facebook. So you guys that are listening to this, I get really close to 5,000 people, and I don't really use a fan page right now because I think it's very impersonal. So if you guys want to sign up and also order the book, do it now, because politically I keep deleting people. Yeah.
Well, that's not a bad idea.
I mean, some people, I mean, I won't get political, but some people just are insane. And the anti-vaxxers, they're just, they just real quickly, there was a guy on the local news last night that was in the hospital. He was 24 years old. And he had a respirator on, and he said, I can't believe I didn't get vaccinated. Why didn't I get vaccinated? And then he died last weekend at 24 years old. So please, anybody that's listening to this, go get vaccinated. You got vaccinated for smallpox. You got vaccinated for polio. You got vaccinated. You know, most of you get the flu vaccination. Stop with these conspiracy things. They're just not true. I got vaccinated in March. And as far as I know, I'm not an alien. And that's part of it. If the government wants to track me, believe me, they have ways, other means.
They're doing it already.
Probably track it. Yeah. I'm sure they've tracked. I'm sure I'm on some list or other.
I mean, my wife is a nurse, so you're preaching to the choir when you're talking about getting the vax. I mean, you can just imagine the horror stories.
Oh my God, I have such admiration for them. I don't know how they do it. They want the pain and the agony and seeing people die. You're giving me chills. As Lopez, as she says, I get goosies.
Yeah. It's amazing.
She had a great day. A show called Dance World that they canceled for some reason. I don't know why, but she called them goosies. Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah.
I can't remember all these lines, and her name escaped me. I'm in trouble. Go on.
Now, Joyce Carol Oates' The Ontological Proof of My Existence was a play you did.
Yeah, you just froze there. You're talking about ontological proof of my existence, right?
Yeah, I was going to mention how that play led to one of, as you describe in your book, one of your 2 biggest professional jobs, The Exorcist.
I guess you could call it that, but it absolutely did. And they're trying to get rid of small theater in LA, and they say, no, you got to be paid. You got to be paid. Why do you want it? Well, let me tell you why we do it. Number one, we need to keep getting refreshed if we're not working. And number 2, talk about learning lines. So I was cast in Ontological Proof of My Existence, which was actually a prologue to a Joyce Carol Oates book, anyway. And they called me the next day and they said, do you want to audition for this horror film? It's called The Exorcist. And by the way, it was a principal. It was not a double. It was not a stunt double. It was not any of that. because
Mhm.
strangely enough, I never would have auditioned for it because all that stuff is extra work and I've never done extra work. So my whole life would have been totally different if it was what people still insist on calling me a lot. And I've been getting residuals since 1973.
Wow. Well, you know what, viewers, I made the mistake, and I should certainly have known better when I had to, we were, Eileen and I were getting back and forth with emails, and I said, could we talk about when you doubled, you were Linda Blair's double?
Oh, and I got insane. I went
Yeah,
ballistic.
I am not, and you were so correct. I mean, you played Regan MacNeill.
Yeah.
in
Well, I
Forbidden.
played the devil that possessed Regan O'Neill.
Yes, yes. But the scenes that you were in, when you portrayed the devil who possessed Regan MacNeill, those are the ones who, I don't know, I think now as the years have gone on, people have finally given you the credit that you
Oh
deserve.
yeah, very, very much so.
But can we go through those for some people that might not realize just you were in the scariest?
Okay, well, let's just say,
Yeah.
I interrupt people and I digress.
Please
um,
do.
let's, first of all, that my portrayal, as it were, of the demon Pazuzu, aka also known as Captain Howdy, has become the icon of the entire film.
Absolutely.
And whenever Warner Brothers does any publicity, they use my face, which is kind of remarkable, but they still don't acknowledge me, but that's another story.
Well, maybe we'll get into that later too, because that pisses me off to no end.
Yeah, well, some
I can
things in the
imagine.
world you can't do anything about. And the 50th anniversary is coming up, so we'll see what happens. But that is the face they use. But in answer to your question, I also did the funds, all the fun stuff. The way I explain it is that Linda did all the things that were stationary, like save me and help me, and the tongue thing, anything that she really didn't have to move. And I did everything that came out, like, of course the vomiting came out, but anything that was a physicality along with what I did. And so I did the vomiting scene, the masturbation scene, most of the levitation scenes, the death scene at the end, that slapping scene, which is so famous because Ellen got her a book. And another shot that they use a lot is that my character is going like this with my fist, and you see the statue of Pazuzu in the background. So yeah, remember, it was almost like stunt work when Father Karras, Jason Miller, bless his soul, died very young. When he's trying to get Father Marin alive, back to life, and pounding on him. And then we worked it out that he looked at me, he saw me sitting on the bed, was totally enraged, grabbed me, threw me to the floor, did that whole thing, and jumped out the window. And of course, then Linda turned into Linda, or Regan turned into Regan. So we worked it. We rehearsed it several times, said, by the numbers, this is what happens. That was what I was sitting on the bed. Jason looks at me, and I swear he was enraged. He was like, he forgot the numbers. He just jumped on the bed, threw me on the floor, and we did the rest of it. And so,
what kind of injuries did you sustain during the
No, I didn't. I've been riding horses all my life, and I think that's why I still fall down. And I've been riding horses all my life, and I think I knew how to fall. You just learn how to fall when you're riding horses. You basically fall on your butt so that you don't get hurt. So that was a fun story. And actually, after that, some of the people say, "Hey, are you interested in doing stunt work?" I went, "Not on your life, not on my life. No, I don't want."
Now, Eileen, was that you?
And that book, by the way, the book is full of stories like that. Some very funny.
That's the thing. I don't want to tell too many spoilers, because guys, you have got to get this book. I mean, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. Like I said in the intro, Eileen has gone through so many professional, personal ups and downs, and she lays it all out there on Exorcising My Demons. This might be a good time to talk about Dick Smith.
Oh,
You praised him in your book, the makeup artist that, what can you say about him?
what can't you say about him? I mean, he's the absolute godfather of makeup.
Mm-hmm.
And he created all these things, that you see now, most of them, that the special effects and stuff and makeup that you see now. And he taught a class for many, many years. And of course, he started with Dawn of the, no, I'm sorry, he didn't do that. But big films like Dustin
Mhm.
Hoffman and Marlon Brando and stuff. And he loved to talk. He absolutely loved to talk.
Which is
So I
probably
went
a
to
good
his
thing while
studio.
he's putting makeup on, right?
I guess, yeah, it certainly passes the time.
Mhm.
But he looks in the mirror when he's talking because he needs to see his work. So it looks like he's talking to himself.
Gotcha.
But what a glorious and gracious work. So
Mhm.
hard. I mean, just Father Marin's makeup
Oh my God.
was
Yeah.
so intense. And Max von Sydow, and he's passed too,
Yeah.
grew into that makeup, which is very funny. But he was a young man when we shot it. And so even on the vomiting sequence,
Mhm.
which was done with a little tube underneath the makeup, Dick only did one side because he thought it would only be photographed from one side, and freaking made him go back and make it go on both sides.
Mm-hmm. Do you think and again, this is just me speaking, but I would be so mad and pissed off at the way you were treated by not getting the credit that you were due. We touched on it before, but
Well, when they first negotiated this, who knew it was going to be The Exorcist? I mean, who knew? And I was very young and naive. And they said, listen, we're not going to give you credit for playing the demon because we want everybody to think that Linda Blair did all the work. And I said, hey, okay.
Mhm.
They were paying me a lot of money at that time. And it was my first major motion picture. And I said, yeah, sure. And then halfway through, I was thinking, wait a minute, I'm doing a lot more work than I thought I was going to do here.
Absolutely.
So, but you really don't want to make waves.
No, I know, I
So,
know. I'm speaking as a
at
layman.
that time,
Mhm.
you don't really want to, create things like maybe I would open my mouth and they would fire me.
Mhm.
You never know.
Sure.
You have to truly understand the value of what you're doing.
Mhm.
And if they fired me, there never would have been a Captain Howdy and a Pazuzu because we shot that the last day. So it's an interesting thing, but that's what happened. I agreed to it. Mercedes McCambridge, who did most of the voice, she sued for credit, but she was Mercedes McCambridge.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
and she sued for credit and she got credit.
well, a couple examples that I'd like to cite why your image of the demon Pazuzu, Captain Howdy / is so iconic. Two things that I can think of. First of all, in the when they re-released the version you've never seen, they added that haunting vision at certain places during the movie. You know what I'm talking about, of course. It became so iconic. And also, when they did Exorcist 2, they tried other actresses or actors to be made up, and they just couldn't get that look that you had.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Because
Well, no,
as
it's
an
a
act,
testament
as
to
an
you.
actress,
It's a
as an
testament to
actress, I
what it
thought
is.
that anybody could do it.
No, apparently
No,
not, because
no, you're
it's
absolutely right. So what
you.
they ended up doing is they paid for so much ugly stuff had happened that they didn't bring me out. I was still in New York. They didn't bring me out to do that. And they would have brought me out to do that if the ugliness hadn't happened. So they bought my film and they put it into the Heretic.
Yeah.
And you're right. They did go through and fire these poor little girls.
Mhm.
That wasn't
Oh,
anything they did or
right.
couldn't do.
It's all in the book, everyone. Exorcising My Demon, so much more. You just please, I can't tell you guys.
And I get you would agree with this. I had my Me Too moment way back when I was a kid, and I got my first summer stock job and went all the way out to Michigan just to be sexually harassed. So we say that. Oh, it was so sad. But
like
a guy named Dan, let's give Dan Lubier credit for this. He's the one who wrote it, and I just talked it, and he wrote it so beautifully. And I just waiting for him to write something else. You want me to tell about Michigan? Or you want them to buy the book?
You know what? I'm going to leave that completely up to you. It's a learning experience for sure that others may.
Well, basically, I told everybody, there's no such word as basically. Either you say it or you don't. But basically has become very popular.
Basically, I understand what you're saying.
Which means you either can or you can't. So I was so excited, right? I mean, it was a professional equity union company, and he promised me all these parts. And again, I was very naive. So I went all the way out there to Michigan to a place called the Red Barn Theater in Kalamazoo. And
what could go wrong in Kalamazoo?
Yeah, exactly. The night I got there, he took me into his office and he started trying to unbutton my blouse and tousled my hair and all that. And he backed up to get a drink, and the shelf almost put his eye out, and he started screaming. And half the company, the other actors, came running in to see what was going on. And there I was sitting on the couch looking like I was complicit in this. So they never talked to me afterwards. Adrienne Barbeau happened to be up there, and she didn't remember that, but it was so funny because Chris was handling her also. Not handling her. He never
No.
Excuse me. He was
representing
her.
Can be misconstrued, yes.
Oh God. Chris wouldn't even hug you. So obviously I wasn't doing the lead in any of these parts. And I did play the part of a little boy in Camelot. I had one line, which was a knight. I intend to be a knight of the round table. That was my whole line. Actually, I slept on the stage for 2 nights after he fired me, which is really bizarre. They had a bedroom set. What am I going to tell them what happened? And I looked down at my hand and I had my union card. I was a professional actress. I mean, how brilliant is that?
Yes.
It just still makes me cry. So you guys, a lot of people out there don't read anymore. They're very short chapters. You can just pick it up when you're having a cup of coffee or you're waiting for somebody to do something. So it's not a huge obligation.
And the whole book and the pictures in the books. Oh my God, everybody! All the pictures are wonderful, wonderful pictures.
Thank you.
There he is. Yep.
Yeah, it hasn't been painted. It's not a he. It's an it.
It's an it.
Because I portrayed it.
Yes.
This is not painted. The man who makes my statues for me got incredibly busy and hurt his shoulder, so he sent them to me so my husband can paint them. So unless you like them white,
right,
but they basically kind of a gray, a blackish gray color. So that's Pazuzu. And again, the best way to order, don't order anything from my website. It's not set up to do that.
Okay.
You can look at things at EILEENDIETZ.com. Just don't order anything from there. And really the best way, again, is to go to my Facebook personal messages and tell me what you want. But this demon is going to get you if you start writing me personal messages that have nothing to do with buying stuff and aren't my close friends or my relatives. That's what personal messages are for. So if you guys say, hi, Eileen, I just did this movie, da-da-da-da-da. I don't want to be rude and nice. Just send me a notification. That's it.
Yeah. Okay, good. Now, after The Exorcist, let me see. EILEEN, you did Planet of the Apes. I'm looking at my list here. Barnaby Jones, Happy Days, Korg, 7000 BC. But for my wife, I must say, the biggest thrill was that when she learned that you were on the #1 soap opera of all time, General Hospital, for 2 years, rivaled only by maybe Luke and Laura. Please, can you tell us about that experience?
Oh, I loved it. I loved it. I mean, people ask me what my favorite job was, and there's lots of them. I mean, lots and lots. I really enjoy just about everything. I can count on one hand the films that I'm embarrassed by, which is pretty good.
Absolutely.
I love the character. She was in a mental hospital.
Sarah Abbott was your character.
Absolutely right. I mean, I just loved it, you know, because the other people, it was when General Hospital was the most popular soap opera ever in time. Like 12 million people used to watch the show every day. And it was that I got recognized wherever I went. I mean, the only thing about The Exorcist is I don't get recognized.
I'll bet
but,
now. I'll bet you
occasionally people say you look familiar, but I got where, and I liked it, you know, and we signed autographs for free then. So that was part of it. But I also got letters from kids that were mixed up and said, I just love you because I can relate to you, and you know, you have these problems. And so that was really nice because I've always liked to give something back. And you know, I've done events. I did events at the time that I could raise money for, you know, mental illness with kids and stuff like that. And I went into the makeup room and I said, hey, I don't want any, it's in the book, I don't want any soap opera makeup at all. You know, she's in a mental hospital. Just give me a foundation and some mascara and stuff.
And wear socks.
And then unfortunately, all the
and wear
socks.
Remember, you said your character, because she wouldn't, being she's in a hospital, you wanted your character to wear socks as well.
Yeah, because she's cold.
Yeah.
People said, "Were you really in a mental hospital?" So I mean, I love doing that, and unfortunately, there was a character, as you know, named Heather, and she was my roommate, and she was psychotic. I was just, you know, a little mixed up. I decided I wasn't going to grow up because I thought it was my fault that my friend died in this accident, and if I didn't grow up, I didn't have to take responsibility for anything. So I carried a doll around. Also had a gun in its head. You can find clips of that on YouTube. If you so desire. So it was wonderful. And unfortunately, all the writers quit at the same time my contract came up. So what can you do? So I left the show.
But and your duo of Heather and Sarah, like I mentioned, in popularity, second only to Luke and Laura in general.
Oh, you're absolutely right. Absolutely right. Yeah, people love those characters. And even people on the show came up to me and said, you're so lucky. Whenever you work, you always have fun stuff to do. And I'm pouring coffee.
Yeah. Now, before we say goodbye, there's just a couple of little random odds and ends things I'd like to bring up.
Okay. I'm not in a rush. All I have to do is learn lines, and I have an audition I got to do, and I have to learn the lines for that. So that's 3 parts.
Oh, God. And then, oh my gosh. I guess on your Facebook page, we can see when you know these movies come out and things like that as well, correct?
Probably more on
IMDb page. Yes, sure.
Yeah, because I do so many films that I don't want to put I don't want to put them all up on Facebook. It'll look like Maybe I'm wrong, but it'll look like I just do everything that comes my way. And
You're a
you know,
working
like a lot
actor.
of these,
I mean,
but a lot of other actors, I'm so
mm,
glad I got cast in this. I'm so glad I got cast in that. And then half the time they never show up.
mhm.
They're just not distributed, or they can't even get out of post. So I don't mention a lot of things on Facebook,
Yeah.
but probably
IMDb.
they're on my webpage, and I just have to talk to my webpage designer and have her update it.
Okay.
And yeah,
Well,
guys can always get in touch with me, by the way, at EILEEN@EILEENDIETZ.com. And I think you might
mhm.
know how to spell that.
EIETZ.
Because,
It will have been on the screen many times during the intro.
oh, okay. I don't mind
Mhm,
people writing me email at
mhm,
Eileen and Eileen. And I probably, um, you know, I mean, even with you, my friend um, Thomas Churchill, I
mhm,
did um, Amityville Harvest. See, I forget I do so many. The
mhm,
Amityville Harvest, and I did a comedy called Abnormal Attraction from Boys on the Fuzz on the Lens.
mhm.
And I mean, I could just go through them. I mentioned Only the Devil. I did Clown Motel 2 and
Yep.
Compatible. That my friend Angela Joseph produced with Joseph Kelly for Gino Alfonso. And so those things are all coming out. And probably you can see what I've done on IMDb,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
just look for them.
Congratulations on being such a thriving working actor too. I
It's
want
amazing.
to.
Believe me, it absolutely, and because I do
Doesn't happen if you
horror,
don't have talent, Eileen. You know,
thank you.
so you're
Yeah, the
being
word's gotten
humble.
around.
Yeah. Mhm.
Um,
Eileen, would you share that wonderful story, Lee J. Cobb and Hooshi?
I'd love to. What happened was I was set to start um, a month later. I get the dates mixed up. I think it was November or something like that. And they decided I had to walk across the window. So I started actually working on the film 6 weeks earlier, which also paid me more money.
Mhm.
And so they brought me down, and I was in a limo driving to the set with Lee J. Cobb. And I don't know who he is. A very, very famous
Oh,
character actor, Death of a Salesman. Oh
12
God,
Angry
no, you should
Men.
look him up. Yeah. Pardon?
12 Angry Men.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
Right?
You can look him up on IMDb.com,
Mhm.
because if you don't, whenever you want to find out about an actor or a film or who is in that movie, or I know that movie, I just can't remember. You go to imdb.com and you can find out anything you want to know about
The
anybody.
best.
So
Yeah.
Lee J. Cobb, not sure if he won an Oscar, probably did. So we're in the car and we stop at the place, and Lee gets out of the car and everybody goes, Lee J. Cobb, hi, sign an autograph. And I got out behind him and everybody went, who's she? Who's she? So Lee called me who's the time I spent with him.
That's cute. And he was a nice
See,
man.
that's wonderful. Just
Yeah.
wonderful. Very successful people tend to be really nice because they've achieved what they want to achieve. It's people who are desperate or want to be an actor, or their career's not going they want it to be, and they're not doing what they want in life, that turn out to be either mean or bitter,
Mhm.
or I'm an actor, I don't have to talk to you, come on.
Yeah. Yep. Terrible. Some people like
I'm very, very friendly to people, except when I'm eating. And when I'm eating, please leave me alone.
yeah. Use some
They're
civic
also,
common sense.
yeah, I was talking to a friend of mine about that the other day, and they're also the hardest scenes to shoot, eating, because first of all, you got to match it, and second of all, you don't know if you got food here and food there, and or
Yeah.
you're chewing. And, well, that's disgusting,
Mhm. That's
or you try and talk with the Yeah, no, I don't think anybody. And if you watch movies now, you'll see that most of the time when they're on the actor themselves, they eat as little as possible.
Yeah. Before we say goodbye, Eileen, first of all, you are a cinematic hero of mine. I remember years ago when I finally found out, who's this EILEEN DIETZ? Wow. She played Regan MacNeill as well in Pazuzu. And to have the chance to talk to you, first of all, it's a real joy and a privilege for me. So I thank you for giving me that time.
Oh, you're welcome.
Eileen, besides your book, Exorcising Your Demons, your sister Denise has written a book, 50 Cents for Your Soul. Can we spend a minute or two talking about that?
Sure, we can. And I should mention she's also written 18 other books. She writes comedy.
Yeah. Oh, so in other words, she's a
18.
lazy writer.
Yeah. I don't even know how you sit down and type that many pages. But she writes comedy mysteries. So they're like her first book. Well, 50 Cents for Your Soul was the first book she see my mind's going, but it was about a group of nuns. So yeah, well, it's bad affirmation though. About a group of nuns that whenever they reach their Weight Watchers group, whenever they reach their goal weight, somebody would kill them. And that's the kind of, she did another thing about.
Well, they reached their goal. What else do they
people
want?
used to watch MASH every Tuesday night, and they were getting killed one by one. And then one of my favorite books is all about puns, where this artist gets killed, and she has puns all through the book, and also about Denver, where she was from. And then she writes historical novels about how the film industry started and with the people, but they're all mysteries though. And that actually started in Denver, which is where she lived. Now she lives in Canada, but you can find DeniseDietz.com or on Facebook at Denise Dietz. So, or you can always write me if you want to find out more about her books. 50 Cents for Your Soul is inspired by The Exorcist. And it opens up with something that really happened with me, that I went to see a fortune teller, or a reader, I think we call them, whatever. And she said, you will be surrounded by lots of bright lights and you will be very happy doing what you're doing. But watch out, there are demonic forces at work. So that's the beginning of her book. Boy. And then it goes, it goes on to this big mystery and stuff.
Well, Eileen, you're the best. I hope you do a convention on the East Coast sometime, because I would love to.
I would love to. I haven't done.
Meet you and talk to you in person. You're wonderful.
I'd like to do Monster Mania again. All you people out there, call them and tell them you want to see me at Monster Mania. Because Chiller's not going to happen, but Monster Mania could happen.
I'm going to email.
So all you guys, people do read mail like that. Like to meet me, then tell them to write.
Absolutely, I'm doing it. I'm emailing them as soon as we sign off here, and I'm glad I got to do it this way, Eileen. And again,
I'm glad we finally got a time, because you can see how really busy I am. I
got that little window in there, the EILEEN DIETZ window. I was able to speak with you. So thanks so much, Eileen, and we'll be in touch.
Okay, and thank you, everybody. Just once again, if you want to get in touch with me, go to Facebook. I have 3 sites, but go to the one where I'm a clown from Clown Motel 2. You'll find out more and more about me, and yeah, that'd be cool. Or you can write 2 questions to Eileen at EILEENDIETZ.com, or you can go to EILEENDIETZ.com, my webpage, and find out all the movies that I did that are on there. You know who has a lot of movies that I did is Tubi. Is that what it's called? Tubi?
Oh, yes. TUBI?
Yeah. So thank you. Have a nice, it's almost the weekend, right? Have a nice weekend.
It's on the way. Thanks, you too. Bye, Eileen.
Bye-bye.
Classic pop culture. It's classic pop culture. Hosted by Steve Ludwig and Vladimir. Pop culture. Classic pop culture.
And now, folks, it's time to say goodnight. We sincerely appreciate your patronage and hope we've succeeded in bringing you an enjoyable evening of entertainment. Please drive home carefully and come back again soon. Good night.